the time we get it posted. So we are recording now, and let's try this again. All right, so the first stuff that we're going over today is very much informational, but some of it's going to be, well, I would say all of it can be very important. First piece is the NISA information. So we've had some schools that have started doing practice NISA testing, and we've started to see some problems, and the problems that we're noticing all revolve around buildings that are going through the TSM. We're having more problems at buildings that go through the TSM. So quick information here. The state or DRC does NISA testing, and they've got a server called the caching server or the TSM server. And I don't know why TSM, because there's no C in TSM for caching, but that's what they call the server. So we, a few years ago, pushed out the TSM server across the entire district, and if you guys remember 2 years ago or 3 years ago, they had major problems at the state, and the state blamed the use of the TSM server. So we said, so last year, the state said they had fixed all their problems, and we didn't believe them. So we said, we're going to push the TSM out to half the buildings and not use a TSM at the other half, so we can use that for some testing. And that worked fairly well last year, so we decided to do the same thing this year. Well, we're starting to see the same problems. We're seeing failures at buildings that use the TSM. So the south side buildings are all using the TSM. The north side buildings right now are not using the TSM. The issue we have is that there's text-to-speech built into the NISA software, so it can read the question to the students. The text-to-speech only works if you're using the TSM server. So the curriculum department has said we would love to use the TSM everywhere so that we don't have to have people read questions during accommodations. But we're having problems with the TSM. Just for some reason, it just kicks you off and you have to reconnect to the test. And so we're still troubleshooting that. But I would say that keep us informed. If you guys are doing the NISA practice, keep us informed of when you're doing it. If we've got somebody available, I sat out at Anderson Grove today, this morning at 8:30 to 9:30 while they did some testing. That helped us troubleshoot some of this stuff, but we'd be more than happy to come out if you guys are doing some practice stuff. We would love to get all this, not love, we have to get all of this figured out before we do actual NISA. So if you're doing practice testing, now is the time for us to kind of troubleshoot with the TSM, non-TSM, and the speech-to-text piece as well. Some of the other things that have come up from NISA is we uploaded the students in December, and then we uploaded again in January. Well, DRC, or the state, decided not to put the kids from January into the practice test. So if you go to print tickets, you might not see kids that are new at semester. You only see kids up to December, and so you have to manually go find those kids. And then there's also been a problem that Melanie Mueller has found out, that even if you put the audio accommodation, it doesn't show on the ticket. So those are all issues we're working through now. Your lit coaches have been made aware of most of these problems, but because they are technology related, we wanted to kind of inform you guys of what was happening with that as well. So any questions on NISA coming in? Okay. Next thing is, I sent an email out a couple weeks ago about a Gmail phishing scam. And we have had at least 5 people in the district fall for this in the last couple weeks. And those are people who have notified me that they did this. So I'm a little bit worried that we've got more people out there. And we don't use Gmail here, but I've got a perfect example. We had a person who works in the district who was emailing back and forth with somebody from Bellevue Public Schools who does use Gmail. They got a spoofed message from this person, and when they opened it, they clicked on the attachment, and the attachment took them to a Google, what looked like a Google login page. It wasn't a Google login page, but that's what it looked like. And it said, sorry, we need to authenticate you. Put in your email address, put in your password, put in your backup email address. It asked them for all this information. Then when they hit submit, this Trump information came up. It was like a Trump propaganda. And so they realized right away, hey, I wouldn't have gotten this from somebody from Bellevue Public Schools. So they let us know. We changed their email password, but I just want to make sure everybody realizes that this phishing scam is out there, and even though we don't use Gmail in the district, people have it as a personal Gmail account. They probably are connecting their computer to it. That can be problematic. So I'm just trying to keep people safe with that. One of the other things that we sent a video out on last week was help desk ticket lookup. Everybody who puts a ticket in now has the ability to look up information on that ticket. So a lot of times, one of the complaints we'd gotten it from ETCs previously, and now we've gotten it from even TAT teams, is that there are so many emails that go back and forth when you put a ticket in. When we assign it, you get an email. When we update it, you get an email. So you might get 10 emails on one ticket. And the problem is finding that ticket. If you've put in 20 tickets in a semester and you're looking for information, you might have 200 emails on 20 tickets. And those emails are going to still happen, and you can file those away. But the nice thing is, if you've got that ticket information, all you need is one copy of the ticket, because there's information in that ticket which will allow you to log into the website and view all the correspondence back and forth. You'll be able to see what you put in, and you'll be able to see what they put in. The other request from principals is to create a portal so principals can go in and look up, I'm out here at Carriage Hill, so Kelsey can go in and look up every ticket that's been put in for her building. And that's the other thing we're going to work on. But right now we're just happy to have that ability for people to look at their own tickets. Now, one of the other questions we've got is, we say any teacher can put in a ticket. Previously it had to go through the ETC, but now we're saying any teacher can put it in. One of the other questions we get is, well, I sometimes don't know what my teachers put in. That's going to be kind of a management thing with your TAT teams, just because some TAT teams are more want to see those more than other TAT teams do. But you could have something, if you had one TAT member for every grade level, you could say anytime anybody in first grade puts in a ticket, they got to copy their TAT team member, because then you would also have that correspondence and be able to log into the website. But we're putting that back on the TAT team. So that would be a discussion you could have to say, how do we want to manage that, or do we want to keep doing what we're doing so we know what tickets get put in. I think last month we kind of went through, or maybe November, we went through how many tickets were coming in, and we haven't seen a huge increase since we had that conversation. In fact, we just went over it with text today. We have not seen a huge increase from the standard. Anything? Bueller? Is that?
Yep.
Okay. All right. For some reason, this mic just keeps cutting out on me. All right. So the last thing that we wanted to go through that's a technology note is that we are still struggling with the JAMP server for self-service for Casper, to get apps on the I'm going to try this without the external mic and see if the USB is just falling off for some reason. We'll see what happens with this. So we're going to take that server down Sunday night. And then the plan is Tim's going to rebuild the server Monday, so we will not have the ability to download apps Monday morning. So if you've got something that you're planning on doing Monday, I would say this week try to get the apps on those iPads, and then Tim's going to try to have that up by lunchtime on Monday. All right, so that's news and notes from the technology department. There are a couple the other things that we're going to go through here are things that are actually long-term projects, but they're things that we want to make you guys aware of because we are getting into second semester and we're starting to ramp up now for summer work, which will head us into next year. And I know it seems super early to be having the conversation about summer work and next year's work, but this is about the time every year where we start to do some of that. So one of the projects we've been working on, and I sent this out in a video as well, and I'm sure that's what everybody loves to do on the weekends is watch my videos, is we started a single sign-on initiative about a year ago, and we're finally to a place where there are some things for people to use. In fact, right before winter break, we had a teacher use Clever for the first time. And so the way this works is they log into their Office 365, and then Clever is an app that I've pushed out to Office 365 for their building. So when they click on Clever, they're then taken to a web page, Clever's web page, and I dropped Khan Academy is the app that this teacher wanted to use. So I dropped Khan Academy in for this teacher, and then their students clicked on Khan Academy, and it auto-created their account. So the teacher didn't have to create accounts in Khan Academy. As soon as the student clicked on it, it auto-created the accounts for them. And it did it with their username and password that they used to log into Office 365. So the idea is you have one username and one password to get into websites and apps and things like that. I've added here, we're doing this through two different portals. We're doing it through Azure, which is Microsoft's portal, and then we're also doing it through Clever. So I've added both of those in here, both of the websites that show the apps that they support. And unfortunately, not every app is supported, but kind of what the curiosity we have from buildings is if you went through this list, are there things that you're using or you're going to use next year that would make sense? Hey, instead of me creating accounts for my students, I would love to be able to just push this so it's just done for me. So it rosters it and it just takes care of all of that. So one of the things we'd like everybody to do over the next month, 6 weeks or so is maybe to look at that list and see if there are places that we can help you with that as we look forward to next year, because then I'm going to spend this spring and summer building those apps out so that we've got them ready for the start of school.
I had a question between Clever and Azure.
Yeah, great question. So Azure is the portal that Microsoft Office is built on. So we're doing that by default, and then Clever's another one we added into it. And Clever's kind of a cool product because they don't charge schools, they charge the companies. So for instance, Khan Academy pays Clever to be a part of it, but then we get Clever for free. So it was kind of a no-brainer. One of the main reasons we signed up for it originally was this idea that it also does all our map rostering. So we don't have to send files to maps when you guys do map testing. Clever just does it for us automatically, and it's updated nightly. So what goes along with that is this piece called Microsoft Classroom. And probably nobody on the call has noticed this, but I've got Bubba Peñas's Microsoft Classroom built up here. So the idea is we have to sync all the teachers in the district, all the students in the district, all the classes in the district to Clever. And through there, we can also sync them to Microsoft. So as of yesterday, every class in the district is now built into Microsoft Office. So if you go to groups, all your classes should be there. And this would be true of every teacher in the district.
You can get to groups through any other tabs but the people.
So Anna just wanted me to let you guys know. So a lot of the different tabs in there have groups, but the easiest way to get there is people. So in your waffle, if you go people, you'll see groups down in the bottom there. But you'll notice as you look at this, Bubba Peñas here is the teacher, so he's automatically made the owner of the group, and then his students are auto-enrolled into the group as well. The idea is, since we're pulling it directly from the student information system, if you have a student leave or come in, that next day they'll jump in the class. Anna and Caitlin and Aaron have today just started kind of playing with this, and they kind of worked with a few different teachers on some things. So I don't know if there's anything you want to mention about it.
I think like the most important thing for lots of you who have set up like the class OneNotes is that Classroom does it automatically. So in the future, you won't need to go to the class notebooks and put all your student ID numbers in, that it will automatically be created through the Classroom, and you just access it. If you're looking at the screenshot right here, you see kind of right above Bubba's face, you see that notebook. So it's attached to the Classroom, and you can just access it through there. If you would like to talk about Classroom and how possibilities of using it in your classroom, myself or Aaron or Anna would be more than happy to talk to you or meet with you about it.
So we've had one teacher this year that I know of who's been using Microsoft Classroom, and that's out at Prairie Queen. And so I just took a shot of her classroom right here, and you can drop assignments in there. You can also do a calendar. Some of the things we've found is if you drop an assignment, you put a due date on the assignment, it adds that due date to all students' calendar as well, so that they know when the due date's coming up. And then as Caitlin was saying, we've got the class notebook in here, so it just automatically takes care of that. So all of this kind of works together. The idea is using that Microsoft portal to become a one-stop shop for all the apps, everything you need, and students only needing one username and password to get into as many systems as we can possibly build out. We're really trying to make this so that moving forward, it's less work for the teachers to try something new. Teacher wants to use Khan Academy. I spend 5 minutes to drop that into Clever for them, but they don't have to set up accounts. They don't have to do anything. So that's our main goal with this. And but we wanted you guys to know that we're very much at the infancy stage. But if a teacher comes to you and says, hey, I've got all these classes showing up in my Office 365, that's where the classes are coming from. So those are the big things for today. Are there things we need to answer?
There's a question that came in about, are any of the tools integrate Canvas, or is it completely separate?
Oh, great question. Yes, they do integrate Canvas. In fact, as we move forward, Liz, is that who this came from? Yeah. So Liz, you're using a different version, not a different version, but you're kind of using a sandbox piece of Canvas for what all your staff are doing. But the full version of Canvas that we're using with those 5 or 6 teachers, we are already integrating Office 365. So Clever is how we're getting the rosters over for those students. And then the students will just log in with their Office 365 account. They won't have to know a different username or password. If we move forward with Canvas as our learning management system district-wide, the idea was we hit a button and then every kid can just log in. It'll just be in their portal. The other great thing about Canvas is the fact that, and Anna and I just sat in on a call about this today, is you don't have to move files over to Canvas. You can store them in your OneDrive, and then when you link to them, they show up. So you're not storing files in multiple places. Any other questions? I know this probably is not a exciting conversation that people want to have today. I know that we're getting ready for NISA testing and some of those types of things, but this is honestly when we start to think about, okay, how are we going to try to make life better for next year? How are we going to try to make things work a little bit smoother? So if you guys can, if the TAT teams can find time over the next 6 to 8 weeks or whatever, to kind of look at Clever and the Microsoft piece and kind of let us know, are there things we can help with? We can start to have those conversations about how are we going to roll those out globally. So, and I don't see anything else coming in. So Either that's a good sign or my mic cut out a long time ago. And
It must have worked because Liz thanked you for your answer.
that's true.
So that's good.
It's a good sign.
And now any final questions, but
Do you want me to put that up there? All the links available.
Oh, yeah. We're pasting in right now, and then I can open it up. What the Clever link looks like, so you guys can see that piece as well. That way you can just click on it. But the PowerPoint's also saved in the OneNote, so you can get there that way. But I will pull this up so you guys can see. All it is it's got all the apps that are built into Clever. So these, for me, are very easy to push out. I can drop these into Clever, and I can do it by class or building or teacher. However you guys want to do it, I can drop those in for your students. So
Some of the more popular ones would be like typing.com,
yeah, Anna just brought up, things like typing.com or
code.org.
code.org. Some of those types of things might be real popular for some of this.
the ones that say sync, is there a difference with those?
Yeah, so if they say sync, that means you can bring over class lists into them as well. But really right now we're just trying to get a list of what's being used out there so that we can build our list and get more information. And we don't have a great list in district about, we know that this is being used at this building. So that's really what we're trying to build right now. All right, if there are no other questions, that is all we have for today. So we will see you guys next month. And if you guys get a chance to get these sent in, just send them in to me, and I'm going to keep a list. So I'll keep that, and then we'll meet as a group to try to see what apps are being used. Thanks, everyone, for jumping on today.